Vedanta book, Part 1, Chapter 1, Shreyas and Prayers. Mother and father are the first gods known to their children. This is an adage. From the time we were born, only our mother and father have been guiding us. Then the society is guiding us. The culture followed by our mother, father, and our society has been our basic background. While living abroad, an Indian mother was subjected to a proceeding by the government for having fed a child using her hands. Their culture is different from our culture. We have been growing up in a particular cultural environment since birth itself. When we reach a stage in our life to decide upon it by ourselves, we use the Vedas, holy scriptures of Hinduism, to supplement our knowledge. Vedas proclaim two messages for us. How should we lead a life of perfection in this world? How should we follow dharma, righteousness? Vedas explain our lifestyle this way. What Vedas state about this is called dharma vishaye, subject matter about righteous action. The second message stated by Vedas is about mukti, moksha, liberation, and Brahman, supreme divine. Vedas are divided into two parts. The first part is called karma kanda, components of any holy scripture dealing with righteous action. The second part is called jnana kanda. Jnana kanda is nothing but components of scriptures dealing with core human duty towards supreme divine. First part deals with living in dharma, righteousness. The second part deals with moksha, liberation, which is the goal of human life. These two parts named in different ways, but the message is the same, irrespective of the names that are given. First part is dharma vishaye, subject matter about righteous action. Second part is Brahma Vishaye, subject matter about Supreme Divine. First part talks about Vyavaharika Satya, practical truth. Second part talks about Paramarthika Satya, spiritual truth. First part talks about the actions that we need to carry out. Second part talks about the secret of ourselves. It is the second part that is the ultimate level. This part is known as Vedanta, ultimate scriptures, because they proclaim the ultimate as ultimate. Upanishads are the final part of the Vedas that is explained in detail. How do we live in this world? We need a house to stay. We need clothes to dress. We need food to eat. All these are materials. Our life is based on these materials. Our Shastras denote this as Artha, pursuit of materials and wealth. We do not show affinity to all these materials. We have affinity only in those materials that give us cheer, happiness, and pleasure. Shastras refer to the affinity that we have on pleasure as kama, desire, longing to have something pleasurable. Kama means clinging with material pleasures. Earning material life by living in accordance with righteous principles and enjoying them are approved by Shastras. It is the affinity towards pleasure that is the energy which moves us forward. We come into contact with materials with an aim of achieving pleasure. We accumulate materials. On the birthday of our child, while returning from office, we buy ice cream and bring it home thinking that the child would be happy. Only when we have come home do we know that the child has fever. Though ice cream is available, it could not be relished to enjoyment. It is not necessary that one will get enjoyment even if material is available. We can bring the materials with our effort, but we cannot bring enjoyment or pleasure with our effort. Many of us have been saying that our effort is the reason behind our enjoyment. We succeed by doing hard work, so we achieve happiness. Thus, we unite both our effort and the enjoyment together this way and understand them so. Shastras say that it is not the effort but something different that gives us enjoyment. If our effort is not the cause of our enjoyment, then what else is the cause of enjoyment? What do Shastras say? What is the cause of our enjoyment as per Shastras? Our Shastras say that the cause of our enjoyment is our virtues, punya. The cause of our distress is our sins, papa. If joyful life is required, then one should involve in virtuous deeds, charitable deeds. We get joyful life as a result of our virtuous karmas. Karma is the actions carried out now which will have their lawful effects in the future. When we ignore dharma, righteous deeds, and involve in adharma, sinful deeds, they add sins to our life. Our Shastras say that all our sufferings are due to our sins, papa. It can be easily said, my enjoyment is because of my effort. But no one says my distress is due to my effort. Everyone tries to avoid suffering. Distress attacks us in spite of our effort. Every one of us likes a lifestyle that would enable us to establish a joyful life as a result of the charity obtained by involving in virtuous deeds with a goal of enjoyment. We all undertake only a joyful life this way. Involving in virtuous deeds by having interest in a joyful life like this is called preyas, worldly life by the Shastras. This preyas is nothing but using the benefit of our virtue for the purpose of a joyful life. Materials called artha and the pleasure called bhoga are all denoted by preyas. All those who have lived virtuously with good deeds are under the lifestyle of this preyas. The pursuit of kama, artha and dharma is denoted by preyas. Is it a wrong lifestyle? Do Shastras brush this aside? No, this is not a wrong lifestyle. This is the right way of life. This lifestyle is upheld by the Shastras. Shastras approve this. This preyas is associated with the first part of the two parts described by Vedas. The level that comes next to the three levels, namely Artha, Kama and Dharma, is the fourth level called Moksha or liberation. Moksha is the ultimate level that needs to be attained. Artha, Kama and Dharma are considered as the first part and Moksha the second part. Shreyas, spiritual life, is said to be associated with the second part as described by the Vedas. This is what the Shastras say. Shreyas denotes the effort put in towards knowing Atma and Brahman for the purpose of a mukti and moksha. Attaining jnana or enlightenment after getting freedom from the ajnana or ignorance is what we have set as our goal. We who have set such goal call ourselves as Atmasadhak Mumukshu. Mumukshu is a spiritual seeker for whom the desire to achieve enlightenment is the predominant goal in life. Our Shastras say that Chitta Shuddhi, purification of the mind, is very much essential to get freedom from Ajnana and then attain Jnana. Chitta Shuddhi denotes cleansing or purification of the mind. Jnana is possible only in the state of a purified mind. What should we do for purifying our mind? The strategy revealed by the Shastras for this is Shreyas. Purification of mind is attained by Shreyas or spiritual life. We utilize the benefits of our punya for the purpose of material life. Using the benefits of our punya for material life is called prayas. Punya is a reward that accumulates through performing good or virtuous or unselfish deeds. If we do not use our punya for material pleasures and use it only for purification of mind, that is called Shreyas. Shreyas is nothing but using the benefits of our punya only for the purification of mind. Similarly, Shreyas also happens through enduring wholeheartedly the distress caused by our papa or sin. Performing all our actions without giving importance to pleasure is called Shreyas. This kind of action is called as Karma Yoga. Our mind becomes purified through Karma Yoga. Vedas show the path of moksha or mukti ultimately after addressing artha, kama and dharma. Through Shreyas, we purify our mind and attain mukti through jnana. Vedas explain to us to lead our life like this. Chapter 2. Lifestyle shown by Vedas. Vedas provide us the design of how we should set our lifestyle, ashrama. Vedas provide 4 categories of our life such as brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha and sannyasa. The first ashrama lifestyle is brahmacharya or the celibate student stage. The second ashrama is grihastha or the householder stage. The third ashrama is vanaprastha or life in retreat. The fourth ashrama is sannyasa or the stage of renunciation. According to this, the lifestyle that we should first establish is brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is the student phase in life. Concentrating on education and quest for knowledge is the student phase or the brahmacharya lifestyle. During this phase, we learn all that is required for our life. We receive vocational education, learn dharma and Veda Shastras that declare the absolute reality, etc. To be assistive of this, we follow virtues and decorum. Next to brahmacharya is grihastha. Grihastha is all about family life, establishing a family and striving for the virtue of the family. Here, it is our responsibility to acquire the wealth that is required for our family, carry out deeds of philanthropy and involve in divine devotion and penance along with our family members. There are many responsibilities when we are in family life. All duties like protecting our family members, helping the government, helping the destitute, rendering help required by the relatives are imposed upon us. To lead a lifestyle based on dharma is the objective of grihastha. Next category is vanaprastha. We took up a life based on dharma, righteousness for social order by adhering to the learnings of brahmacharya, and we have led a lifestyle of being a part of this society. The goal of human life is mukti or liberation. The effort that we put in to attain that moksha when we are in family life is vanaprastha. Here we categorize our life into 2 parts. First is to be a part of the family responsibilities. Second part is to involve in penance towards attaining mukti or liberation. At this stage, we prepare our heirs to bear our family responsibilities. Next ashrama is sannyasa. Here, we get freed of the family responsibilities. In the family life, we take care of everything by being the family leader. During vanaprastha, we make our heirs our representatives and we direct them. During sannyasa, we neither take up any responsibility to be the leader of the family nor do we direct those who marry. We become a guest to the family. In this state, our total involvement is towards attaining mukti. All these practices are common practices that everyone should follow. It is not mandatory that we should cross all these stages for the purpose of attaining mukti. If we are passionate and guided properly, we can attain mukti or liberation when we are in the brahmacharya student phase itself. We can even come to the grihastha family life after becoming a mukta who has attained mukti or liberation. Vedas teaches the principles of lifestyle like this. Vedas direct us the way to earn material things, enjoy the material life that is earned by adhering to the dharma, and ultimately attain mukti or liberation. Chapter 3. Vedanta. The culmination of Vedas is Vedanta. Culmination or the end is the ultimate level. The ultimate level that we need to attain, as pointed out by Vedas, is Vedanta. Vedas that taught us how to lead the righteous way of living in line with religious and social codes teach also the goal of human life. The goal of our life is what makes our life meaningful. Hence, it is our primary responsibility to understand the goal of our life. As goal is the most important part, all those books that describe the goal with explanations after explanations, Bhashya and Upabhashya, is totally called Vedanta. All Upanishads explain these ultimate Vedantic truths in different dimensions. Traditionally, the last part of the Vedas is devoted to the Upanishads. What is that overall information that all these Vedanta tell us? What do they proclaim? What do they show to us as the goal? The goal shown by Vedanta is mukti or liberation. Vedanta is nothing but the explanations given for mukti and the ways to attain mukti. There are countless books and persons that teach us and explain this to us. Vedanta explains about something that we need to know and attain. Vedanta describes it in such a way that whoever knows it need not know any other thing, and whoever attains it need not attain any other thing. There have been different kinds of great reincarnations of saints in each millennium. They have given explanations to this central idea, mukti, liberation, in their own ways. Even then, there have been some traditions that have existed in explaining the ideologies of Vedanta. The scriptures that give traditional explanations are called Vedanta Shastras. All these Vedanta Shastras provide us the explanations for mukti and show the ways to attain mukti, liberation. What is mukti, liberation? What do Vedanta tell us about that? They provide explanation that mukti is nothing but getting liberated from samsara, the bondages of life. Shastras show us two levels, mukti and samsara. They tell us that our current state is called samsara and getting liberated from this state is mukti. Now, we can come to a clear conclusion by discriminating between mukti and samsara. To explain this, Vedanta Shastras provide us an example. We are walking in half darkness. There is a big black snake lying on the way. We get scared of the snake and scream. Immediately, people in the neighborhood rush towards us with lamps. In the lamplight, we see that it is just a rope, not a snake. We got scared because we thought it was a snake, not a rope. We would not have got scared had we known that it was just a rope. Knowing that it is just a rope is the only way to get rid of the fear. Fear is an unwanted thing here. An unwanted phenomenon has occurred. That unwanted fear is termed as samsara, attachment. The reason behind not perceiving the rope as rope is nothing but ignorance. The unattached Atma is considered as attached due to ignorance. We get mental anxiety because we perceive the rope as a snake. Likewise, we get mental stress by not knowing our natural state as Atma and perceiving ourselves as body and mind having problems. These mental sufferings are called as samsara. Not perceiving the rope as a rope is ignorance or ajnana. Placing a load of unreal snake on a real rope is called adhyasa, seeing or mistaking one thing in the place of another. The rope is hidden because of the load placed like this. This hiding is called avarana, concealing. What we get because of this is sadness or anxiety. The state of these ajnana, avarana, adhyasa and sadness put together is called samsara or bondage. Getting liberated from this samsara is mukti, liberation. Through the jnana, enlightenment that happens by knowing the rope as a rope, we get rid of the snake-related anxiety. Similarly, by knowing Atma as the real nature of Jiva, individual self, we resolve all our anxieties. This is nothing but mukti. We perceive ourselves as Jiva, individual personality, like perceiving the rope as a snake. Snake is unreal, the rope alone is real. Jiva is unreal, Atma alone is real. The real nature of ourselves is Atma. The unreal nature of ourselves is Jiva. Snake and rope are two different things. There should be some reason behind perceiving the rope as a snake. We would not think like that without any reason. Similarly, there should be appropriate reasons behind perceiving Atma as Jiva. Jiva is the identification of the Atma with a body and mind. Here, a review on why we perceive like that and how to get rid of that becomes necessary. Shastras explain these in different degrees. What is Jiva? What is Atma? Who is God? What is the connection between God and Jiva? How did this universe evolve? How did this Jiva acquire ignorance and attachment? How can Jiva get rid of the ignorance and attachment? Vedanta Shastras provide explanations like this by dividing into different layers. What do the Shastras tell about these? Innumerable explanations, innumerable scriptures. We should be taking many births to read all those scriptures. But we are going to see only the essence of these scriptures. For those who want to study these in detail, it is better to study the other related supplementary Vedanta Shastra scriptures. Vedanta Shastras explain these in their own unique terms. We have been using some of these terms in our day-to-day life. Many terms are new ones that we do not use. Hence, we can study Shastras formally only when we learn all those terms. We are going to learn those terms also. As those terms are not familiar to us, it is better to read the related parts once again. Do we have the qualification to read and understand these Shastras? Shastras also tell us about the qualification that is required to learn them. That itself is a separate Shastra. Shastras tell us that we should review our qualifications also before reviewing the Shastras. Should we not know about that? Yes, we should know about that. But we are not going to explain that in the beginning itself. We are going to see that in the relevant part. Now, by trusting that we have the qualification to learn Shastras, let us understand systematically what Shastras tell us about the absolute reality. let us first see how Shastras approach the question, who am I? Chapter 4, Jiva. What would we say when we are asked, who am I? I is the Jiva. I am the Jiva. We are the Jivas. We were created by Ishvara, God. Shastras, holy scriptures, give the name Jiva to us and the name Ishvara to the God who created us. We know ourselves. It is not necessary to ask who we are. Then, why was there a need for inquiring about ourselves? Who am I? Suppose we are traveling in the car that belongs to us. What would you say if you are asked, who are you? We would say, I am somebody traveling in my own car. We do not say, I am the car. We would say, the car belongs to me. Suppose we are walking down to see a friend, not traveling in car. The friend asks, how did you come? We say, I did not come by car. I came by walk. We do not say, I did not come by car. I came by my body. We do not separately identify the body and ourselves. We understand that whatever is done by the body is done by ourselves. We say, I am seeing, I am walking, I am eating, I am talking. Like this, we say that all that the body does is done by ourselves. Our body becomes sick. We go to the doctor. Like saying, I am seeing, we do not tell the doctor that I am not alright. We tell him that my body is not well. We say that we are seeing. We go to the doctor and say that our eyes are not well. Similarly, even when we describe our experiences, we say that I am happy or I am sad. Then we go to the psychiatrist and tell him that my mind is upset and there is always anxiety in my mind. On the one hand, we say that whatever the body does is done by me. On the other hand, we say that we are different from our mind. As far as our house is concerned, we would always say that it is our house. We never say that I am the house. But as far as the body and mind are concerned, our approach is different. Sometimes we say that our body is meant to be ours, and another time we say that it is our possession. True I is actually the Atma, that is the source of our body and mind. It is the Atma that takes the basic form and becomes the cause behind our physical and mental consciousness. We refer ourselves as the Jiva. This Jiva is a combination of the Atma and the Anatma. It is said that Atma plus Anatma equals Jiva. Atma is a conscious factor. Anatma is a non-conscious factor. What all that is not Atma is called by the name Anatma, non-conscious factor. Atma alone is the absolute reality. That is the basic feature. What is Anatma? What do we refer as Anatma? What do we refer as something that is not Atma? Do we say that the tree, plant, the vegetation, the ocean and the mountain that we see are Anatma? No. The things that are called Anatma are different. What is Anatma? What else do we call as Anatma then? We say that our body and the mind are the Anatma. Because sometimes we consider ignorantly our body and mind as I. We never consider the mountain and the ocean that we see as I. Our body and the mind are explained in 11 different aspects. All the 11 aspects come within 3 categories. These 3 categories are called Anatma. What are those three categories? The first category is called the Sharira or the body. Second category is named as Kosha or the sheath. Third category is named as the Avastha or the states of consciousness. These three categories are combined together and described as 11 aspects. The first category, namely Sharira, body, is described as 3 bodies. The second category, namely the Kosha, sheath, is described in Pancha Kosha, 5 sheaths. The third category, namely the experiences, Avastha, are described as 3 different experiences as Avastatraya. 3 plus 5 plus 3 equals 11 aspects are described. The first category, namely the Sharira, body, is described as Stula, gross body, Sukshma, subtle body, and the Karana, causal body. The second category, that is the Koshas, sheaths, denote 5 Koshas, namely Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, and Anandamaya Kosha. In other words, they denote respectively the sheath made of food, breath, mind, intellect, and bliss. The third category, which is the Avasthas, experiences, denote the 3 different experiences, namely Jagrat Avastha, Swapna Avastha, and Sushupti Avastha. They denote respectively the state of consciousness in the waking state, dream state, and deep sleep state. These 3 plus 5 plus 3 equals 11 aspects are the Anatma. Both these Anatma and the Atma together are called as Jiva, the individual personality. What is the Stula Sharira, gross body? Stula body is nothing but the physical body that is seen apparently. This Stula body is made up of the combinations of Panchabhutas, 5 elements of nature: earth, water, air, fire, and the space. One can experience pleasure and pain only through this Stula body. This Stula body has been given for the purpose of experiencing the pleasure and pain that we get due to our karma. This Stula gross body is subject to 6 different changes or features: existing during pregnancy, being born, being grown up, acquiring changes like putting weight, decaying due to aging or disease, disappearing due to death. Stula body is nothing but this. Let us see next what Sukshma body is. This Sukshma subtle body functions as 17 different features. Like the Stula body that evolved from the Panchabhutas, 5 elements, this Sukshma body also is made up of 5 Sukshma Panchabhutas. Stula Panchabhutas are those Panchabhuta energies that are apparently seen. Sukshma Panchabhutas are those Panchabhuta energies that are not apparently seen. It is from the Sukshma Panchabhutas that the Stula Panchabhutas have taken form. This Sukshma Sarira that is made up of the Sukshma Panchabhutas exists as the source for our karmic actions. This Sukshma body experiences the pleasure and pain through the Stula body depending on its karma acquired in previous birth through good and bad deeds. This Sukshma Sharira functions in 17 different forms. These 17 forms come within 5 divisions. They are: number 1, 5 Jnanendriya, sensitive energies, which are 5. Number 2, 5 Karmendriya, working energies, which are 5. Number 3, 5 Prana, breath energies, which are 5. Number 4, energy of mind, which is 1. Number 5, energy of buddhi, intellect, which is 1. Total 17. Do you know what these 5 jnanendriyas are? Sense of hearing by the ears, sense of touch through the skin, sense of seeing and enjoying the scenes through eyes, sense of taste through the tongue, and the sense of smelling through the nose. All these 5 organs of perception are the 5 jnanendriyas. These do not denote the body parts of the sthula body in which these energies work. Jnanendriyas only denote the intelligent aspect that is active in those organs. One presiding or protector deity aspect is specified for each of the 5 jnanendriya energies, organs of perception. The divine aspect for hearing energy is Dik Devata, which is the deity for directions. The divine aspect for the energy of touch sensation is Vayu Deva, deity of air. The divine aspect for the energy of seeing is Surya Deva, sun deity. The divine aspect for the energy of taste sensation is Varuna Deva, deity of rain. Ashwini Deva is the divine aspect for the energy of smell sensation. All these are the 5 jnanendriya energies, the first aspect of the 5 divisions of the Sukshma Sharira, subtle body. Next we are going to see the second aspect, the 5 Karmendriyas, organs of action. Like the 5 jnanendriya energies, Karmendriyas are also of 5 kinds. The 5 jnanendriya energies are associated with the knowing aspect, sense of perception. The 5 Karmendriya energies are associated with the doing aspect, aspect of action. What are these 5 types of Karmendriya energies? The energy of speech through mouth, the energy of all the actions of the hands such as picking, placing, pulling, pushing and writing, the energy of all the actions of the legs like walking, running and standing, the energy of excretion of stools through anus, voiding urine through the urinary tracts and reproduction. These 5 types of action energies are the 5 Karmendriya energies. All these indicate only the energy aspects. They do not denote our body organs that act in the body. Like the energy of the Jnanendriyas, the 5 Karmendriya energies also have separate presiding deity aspect, which is of 5 types. Agni Devata, fire god for speech energy. Indra Devata for the operating energy of the hands. Vishnu Bhagwan for the operating energy of the legs. Yamadharma for the stool's excretory energy. Prajapati for the urine voiding energy. These are the 5 presiding or protecting deity aspects. All these are the 5 Karmendriya energies, the second aspect of the 5 divisions of the Sukshma, subtle body. Next, we will see the third aspect, which is 5 pranas. What is the prana, breath? Prana is nothing but the air called Vayu. This air called prana is known as air or Vayu when it acts outside our body. When it acts inside our body as vital breath, it is known as prana. The prana acts in 5 ways. There are 5 pranas. When we mention about them collectively, we name them as prana. If we differentiate them and mention about them separately, they are given separate names. Even while discriminating them as 5 different names, the first prana is given the name prana itself. The 5 prana vayus are the energies of the body that regulate and control all bodily functions. They are the energy winds of the body. When these energies are balanced, the body is healthy, and all its functions are optimized. They are classified as prana, apana, dhyana, samana and udana. What do these 5 pranas do? What is their work? While we breathe in, we breathe out the inhaled air. The air that is exhaled is called prana, the first one. The air that is inhaled within our body is apana. The air that entered inside resides inside the body and acts. This is the cause of the blood flow. This diffusive prana that circulates throughout the body, that has spread all over the body this way, is called dhyana. The equalizing prana that activates all the digestive organs and helps with digestive power is called samana. The ascending prana that has the power of reversing the functions is udana. What is that ascending prana? The food that we took in through our mouth reaches the stomach through the esophagus. This is the normal direct practice. What will happen when this function is reversed? When it goes upside down, what will happen? If the food that is supposed to go from mouth to stomach instead comes out from the stomach through the mouth, then that is reversal of the function. The ascending prana that causes the reverse action this way is the udana. Why should it act this way? This udana helps to remove the unwanted by vomiting out the unwanted stuff from the stomach and by sneezing out the unwanted stuff from the windpipe. At the time of death, it is this udana that helps to separate and bring out the sukshma body from the sthula body. All these are the 5 pranas of the sukshma subtle body's third aspect of its overall 5 divisions. What we are going to see next are the mind and intellect, the 4th and the 5th aspects. Mind and intellect are the 4th and the 5th aspect of the 5 divisions of the functions of Sukshma subtle body. But the mind and the intellect are formed from our thoughts. The Sankalpa Vikalpa only are said to be the mind. Sankalpa is conception, idea or notion formed in the mind. Vikalpa is doubt, uncertainty or indecision. The Sankalpa Vikalpa is nothing but the confusion due to indecisiveness on where to go, for example, whether to go to this town or that town. This is mind. The part where the emotions of anger, grudges, joy and sorrow occur is also considered as mind. Analyzing this and deciding on what to do is the intellect. Even though both the mind and the intellect are nothing but the thoughts, there is only a subtle difference between them. Mind wavers as to this or that. Intellect makes the definite decisions. Thus, our subtle body has in total 17 forms. 5 Jnanendriyas, organs of perception, plus 5 Karmendriyas, organs of action, plus 5 pranas, plus 1 mind, plus 1 intellect. The detailed picture on how the subtle body is constituted can also be seen along with the chart diagram and understood. Jiva, individual self, comprises both the Atma and the Anatma. The Anatma exists in 11 aspects. These 11 aspects are divided into 3 categories called body, koshas and experiences. Of the 3 categories, we are seeing the first category, the body. The body exists in 3 aspects: the gross body, the subtle body and the causal body. Of the 3 body types, we have seen both gross body and subtle body. Now we will see Karana Sharira, the third body. What is Karana, causal body? How does it exist? Somehow we experience and understand the physical and the subtle body. But we cannot feel and understand our causal body because it is unexplainable by itself. Let us think of a mango tree. The tree has several parts such as branches, leaves and fruits. They are apparently seen. Where did all these aspects of the tree come from? They have come only from the mango seed. Can we know these branches and leaves separately within the mango seed? Even though the mango seed is the cause of all these apparent aspects, these exist in seed form, the causal form in the mango seed, in such a way they cannot be separately seen. Thus, the causal body or Karana Sharira is the seed form, the causal form of our gross body and subtle body. Okay, let it be. How does the causal body exist in itself? What is happening here is the same as what happens when the rope is conceived as snake. Just as a false snake is superimposed on the truth of rope, the causal body is an imagined philosophy imposed on the Atma. This causal body is considered as a body only because it depends on the rope of Atma. Otherwise, without Atma, this causal body is by itself a non-existing one. So, we cannot say from where the causal body arose and when it arose. Therefore, it is called Anadi. Anadi means beginningless, means eternal. Even though it depends on Atma, it doesn't have the knowledge of the Atma. Even though it is dependent on Atma, it is an aspect of ignorance. Each one of us is confined in this causal body during our deep sleep. Is it possible to elaborate on our sleep? Likewise, since causal body does not reveal anything to distinguish it, the causal body cannot be described. This is causal Karana Sharira. This is like this. Of the three categories of the Sharira, body, koshas, sheets and avasthas experiences found in Anatma, we have seen only the first aspect, which is the Sharira, body. After this, koshas and avasthas are to be seen. There are the 5 different koshas. They are divided into Annamaya kosha, Pranamaya kosha, Manomaya kosha, Vijnanamaya kosha and Anandamaya kosha. Koshas mean to be the cover for the Atma, like a sword's casing covering the sword. All the koshas remain as covers to conceal the Atma. The koshas do not conceal the Atma by being larger than Atma, like the cover of the sword is larger than the sword. There are many alphabets in this paper. When we read these alphabets and pay our attention to the contents, we do not attach significance to the paper, which is the source of these. Like this, by attracting our attention, all these koshas keep hiding the Atma. Annamaya kosha represents our physical body that is formed of the food we eat. Annam is food. When we function with body consciousness, it becomes a kosha. Our gross body and Annamaya kosha are the same. Next comes Pranamaya kosha. Our subtle body constitutes Pranamaya kosha. The 5 pranas and the 5 karmendriya action energies in our subtle body together form the Pranamaya kosha. The experiences of our vital life energies, pranas, caused through the acting aspect of 5 kinds of organs like hands and legs, constitute the Pranamaya kosha. Next comes the Manomaya kosha. This also indicates the experience caused by the subtle body. All the experiences of the mind associated with the sensitive aspect of the 5 senses in our subtle body is called Manomaya kosha. After this, Vijnanamaya Kosha will be seen. Vijnanamaya Kosha is also an experience aspect of the subtle body. Vijnanamaya Kosha is the experiences caused by the combined state of the intellect with the 5 Jnanendriyas, energy of senses in our subtle body. When the Jnanendriyas, sensory intelligence combines with the mind, it is Manomaya Kosha. When Jnanendriyas, sensory intelligence combines with the intellect, it is Vijnanamaya Kosha. We have seen the 4 koshas: Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha and Vijnanamaya Kosha. Annamaya Kosha is the experience aspect of the physical body. Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha and Vijnanamaya Kosha are the experience aspects of the subtle body. Anandamaya Kosha is the aspect of the third body, Karana Sharira, the causal body. The experience of sleep that we get is due to this Anandamaya Kosha. To help understand this Anandamaya Kosha, the sheet made of bliss, we need to know our Triguna, 3 qualities also to some extent. There are 3 types of gunas, qualities. They are Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Sattva guna is the feature of intelligence. All humans primarily have intellect. Only humans have intellect. This quality is associated with wisdom, truth and spirituality. So, all of us as humans are primarily of Sattva guna nature. The intellect aspect in animals is low. The acting aspect is more. Rajas guna is associated with animals and activity. The natural soil, trees, plants and creepers have dull actions and exist with a trait of immature intellect. This is a trait of Tamas guna. Sattva guna is an aspect of intelligence. Rajas guna is an aspect of action. Tamas guna is an aspect of inaction. Though we primarily have the Sattva guna aspect, other gunas are also predominant at times. Only when such changes happen can we involve in all types of activities. Sattva guna is needed to understand whatever we have to know through intellect. Rajas guna is needed to perform what is learned. Only action is not adequate. The ideal state of rest is also needed. For that, the exposure of Tamas guna is needed. For us to sleep, our Sattva and Rajas natures are to be in subdued state and Tamas guna alone should be predominant. While at sleep, since Sattva intellect is in a subdued state, sleep is considered as a form of ignorance. Similarly, since Rajas nature which gives us sorrow is subdued in sleep, we get peace. So, we call this Ananda, bliss aspect. Even when we are awake, only when our intellect and energy to act are in peaceful state, happiness occurs. All the Ananda, happy experiences that we get are dependent of Anandamaya Kosha. This is Anandamaya Kosha. When we show more involvement in our body appearance, we are in Annamaya Kosha. When we are in a state of keen interest on delicious food, we are under control of Pranamaya Kosha. When we are controlled by anger and grudges and mental emotions, we are in Manomaya Kosha. When we are keen on attaining intellectual things, we are in Vijnanamaya Kosha. When we are only keen on happiness, we are in Anandamaya Kosha. Of the 3 categories of Anatma, the Sharira, body, the Koshas, sheets, and the Avasthas, experiences, we have seen the body and the Koshas. The remaining aspects to be seen are 3 Avasthas. Avasthas are of 3 types: Jagrit Avastha, the waking state of consciousness, Swapna Avastha, the dream state of consciousness, Sushupti Avastha, the deep sleep state of consciousness. The Jagrat Avastha occurs only when we are awake. In this state, all our Indriyas, senses, function. The state in which we contact through senses to know is the Jagrat Avastha. We see someone with our eyes. We participate in the events that happen around us. Due to this, we get experiences of pleasure or pain. We experience these with our outward contact of senses. This is Jagrat Avastha. The one who is in the waking state is named and called Vishwan. Next comes the Swapna Avastha. The Swapna Avastha, dream state, occurs in our sleep. All our experiences are recorded as memories, samskaras, vasanas in our mind. These recordings become experiences through the dream that occurs during our sleep. They are also experiences. They are dreams. Even though there is no sunlight there, the scenes that come in the dream through the light of the mind are seen by us and experienced. Since our mind functions with its self-glow, the one who acts in this state is called Taijasan, a person made up of light. Tejas means light. Taijasan is made up of Tejas. Here, we are in connection with our subtle body only. Of the three avasthas, the third one is Sushupti Avastha. The Sushupti Avastha denotes dreamless deep sleep. We experience sleep without knowing anything. The vritti that occurs during sleep is named as Nidra Vritti. Vritti is gross and subtle thought patterns. Nidra means sleep. This Sushupti Avastha has an aspect of the causal body and Anandamaya Kosha. Therefore, ignorance and peace are prevalent here. One who is an aspect of causal body is called Prajnan, a person made up of pure sensitivity itself. Prajna means pure awareness. Prajnan is made up of Prajna. Thus, the Sharira, Koshas and the Avasthas that are the Anatma philosophies, which is the reason behind the Jiva, are explained by Shastras. We have seen that Jiva is a combined aspect of Atma and Anatma. We have seen what Anatma is. Now, if we also see what Atma is, then the entire aspect of how Jiva is will be clear. What is Atma? What is the Swarupa, natural state of Atma? What is the nature of Atma? The natural state of Atma is said to be Sat Chit Ananda. Sat plus Chit plus Ananda is Satchidananda. That Atma is thus described. Only Atma is the absolute reality. That alone remains as the existential reality. To indicate this, Atma is said to be a Sat Swarupa, form of existential reality. What exists as this eternal existence and absolute reality? The Chit aspect alone exists as the absolute reality. Chit is awareness, knowing factor. That is called Chaitanya, the life aspect. No one considers himself as Jatam, matter, lifeless and senseless. Knowing aspect is our prime aspect. When we recognize our child as a child, we also understand ourselves as a father or a mother. We know us as a knower of the thing to be known. When there is a thing to be known, there is a knower. When the thing to be known is not there, then the knower is not there. But the capacity of knowing does not disappear. The knowing capacity is the base of the knower and the things known. The basic knowing capacity is known as Chit aspect, awareness. This capacity, while knowing the things, appears as a knower. This Atma, which exists as Chaitanya as a form of Chit, knows various experiences through the Anatma. The next aspect of Atma is Ananda, bliss, true happiness. Ananda indicates a nature of harmony. We can say this as Ananta, infinite. Ananta means that cannot be known within boundaries and that cannot be measured. This is undefined by time and space. So, we can call this as whole and complete. Since it is whole and complete, we can also call this Ananta Swarupa, blissful form. This is Atma. This Atma is a true aspect of I. Anatma is one which is dependent on Atma. This Atma cannot be known through any of the features of Anatma. But Atma is the causal factor for the activities of Anatma. This is Jiva. The chart diagram is as follows. Jiva has formed in the combined state of Atma and Anatma. All the features of Anatma are displayed in Jiva, individual self. Atma, with its life quality and with its knowing aspect, helps to expose the Anatma features in Jiva. Anatma is merely an inert matter. Atma alone is the life aspect that has existence. Anatma is Jatam. Atma is Chaitanya. Since we, the Jiva, consider ourselves as I am along with Anatma, the state of sadness and suffering becomes our experience. Experiencing the sadness this way is termed as samsara by the Shastras. Samsara is the bondage of worldly life. When we understand that we are not Anatma, we are Atma, I does not indicate Anatma, I indicates Atma with its Sat, Chit, Ananda aspects, then only we get rid of the distress called the samsara. This is said to be mukti, liberation. This was understood by us after reading all this. Whether knowing like this is the understanding? This also is an understanding. This is an understanding by someone when the other explains it. An example. Suppose we are studying in a college. We are leaving for the college. We ask for the bus fare from our father. He says, I have kept it in the shirt packet. Take it. Is this understood by us? We do not know it on our own. Since he told, we understand. This type of understanding is Shravana. Immediately we search in our father's shirt packet. We have seen all his shirt packets, but we could not find the money. Again we ask our father about that. We have seen that knowing by listening to the teachings of others and by reading from the scriptures, Upanishads, is Shravana. To elaborate and understand this is Manana. The clearing of doubts by asking questions on what has been heard is Manana. Only when we inquire, the deficiencies in our understanding through Shravana will be known. We searched at the father's shirt packet as per father's words and found nothing. We clear our doubts through enquiry. When we ask him, he clarifies further. He clarifies, when did I say that it was in my shirt packet? I had kept the money in your own shirt packet. When we touch our shirt packet, we find the money that we searched. To know ourselves that it is with us is called nididhyasana, the right apprehension without doubt. Jiva, known through Shravana, is clarified of the doubts with enquiry of Manana. True understanding is knowing through nididhyasana that the truth about Jiva is not an information about someone else, but about me only. How to inquire and how to understand it is described by Shastras in 9 types of sadhanas, practices. The 9 sadhanas are contained in 4 sections called Sadhana Chatushtaya. This is the practical Vedanta. Vedantic truths are brought to us through practical Vedanta through these practices. Before we see that, let us see what God is and how the world and life in this world 5 came into Ishvara and Prapancha. God is named Ishvara by Shastras. The entire cosmos with Earth, planetary systems, stars and galaxies are named Prapancha, universe. What is called as Ishvara and Prapancha is said to be Samashti, totality. What is said about Jiva that emerged severally from this is called Vyashti, individuality. We have already seen about Jiva in the 4th chapter. This is Vyashti philosophy. Now we will see the truth of universe, the Samashti philosophy. As our body is classified as physical body, subtle body and causal body, the Prapancha also has 3 classifications such as Sthula Prapancha, physical universe, Sukshma Prapancha, subtle universe and Karana Prapancha, causal universe. The 5 physical elements, namely earth, water, fire, air and space that can be apparently seen constitute Sthula Prapancha, physical universe. Where have these Sthula Prapancha, physical 5 elements come from? They have come from Sukshma, subtle 5 elements of universe. These subtle 5 elements are collectively known as Sukshma Prapancha, subtle universe. Where has this subtle universe come from? Just like the subtle body that came from the causal body, the subtle universe also came from causal universe. As the subtle body is embedded in the causal body, the physical and the subtle universe are embedded in the causal universe. Jiva's individual subtle body getting dissolved in the causal body is known as Laya, dissolution. Laya is the dissolution of individual Jiva. It is also the last stage in the cycle of creation, preservation and destruction of the universe. The total dissolution of the Prapancha, universe, is called Pralaya, total dissolution. Pra indicates whole or total. The causal body, that is the cause of the Jiva, is called as Avidya, ignorance. The causal existence, that is the cause of Prapancha, universe, is called as Maya, illusion. Causal body depends on Atma. In the same way, Maya depends on Brahman, the universal Atma. The causal body and the Maya are incomplete by themselves. They have the nature of Jatam, inert matter. Due to the union with Atma or Brahman, they attain the state of existence, being. They attain consciousness. When the causal body is in union with the Atma, it is known as Jiva. In the same way, when Maya, the causal universe, is in union with Brahman, it is known as Ishvara. Atma plus causal body equals Jiva. Brahman plus Maya or causal universe equals Ishvara. We mold the clay into a shape of a pot. Can we remove the clay from the pot? Is there something called pot in the absence of clay? there is nothing called pot separately. Clay can be there without the pot. Pot cannot be there without clay. The aspect of pot can exist only in its state of union with clay. Pot is Maya. It attains the nature of existence on union with Brahman. We need a person to mold the pot out of clay and also the intelligence to make it. But Maya itself takes the form as existence. Ishvara alone develops as universe. Ishvara creates the universe from him. Like a spider which spins its web through its intelligence, Ishvara creates the universe. There is ignorance in the intelligence of the Jiva, whereas there is no ignorance in the intelligence of Ishvara. The one who has the intelligence without ignorance is Ishvara. Ishvara has the understanding that his real nature is Brahman only. But Jiva does not have such understanding by birth. It assumes that it is Anatma and is ignorant of Atma. Like Atma, Brahman also has a form of Sat plus Chit plus Ananda. Brahman has the nature of Sat, the nature of Chit, and also the nature of Ananda. Does Brahman have gunas, qualities? Brahman has no gunas, qualities. So it is called Nirguna Brahman, qualityless Brahman. But Maya has got 3 gunas, qualities. Maya has the 3 gunas, the Sattva guna, the Rajas guna and the Tamas guna. Brahman and Maya does not have any beginning. Hence, Brahman and Maya are known as beginningless Anadi. Maya is the causal universe. Through the gunas in Maya, the subtle universe and physical universe emerge. When the aspect of sound, Shabda, joins with 3 gunas of Maya such as Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, the subtle element space or ether, Akasha, manifests. In that Akasha, the 4 gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, sound are present. When the aspect of touch sensation, Sparsha, combines with Akasha, the subtle element air, Vayu, manifests and emerges. The Vayu manifested in this manner has 5 gunas. The 3 gunas of Maya, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, combined with the Shabda and Sparsha. After Vayu, the air element came from Akasha. The fire element Agni got created from Vayu. When the quality of appearance Rupa joins with air element Vayu, the subtle element fire Agni is formed. Rupa is outward appearance and one of the 5 subtle senses. How many gunas are possible in this fire element Agni? The 5 gunas that we saw in air element, Vayu, 3 plus 1 plus 1 equals 5, and the 6th one, Rupa, are together manifested in the fire element. When the quality of taste, Rasa, joins with the fire element, water element Up is formed. Rasa is one of the 5 subtle senses. This water element Up has the 6 gunas of the fire element and the 7th one, the Rasa. From the element of water, the subtle element of the earth element, Prithvi, is formed. When the quality of smell, Gandha, combines with the subtle element of water, the earth element, Prithvi, emerges. The subtle element of earth has 3 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus quality of smell, which are 8 guna aspects. Thus, the 5 types of subtle elements, Akasha, space, Vayu, air, Agni, fire, Up, water, Prithvi, earth, emerge. All these are the energies of Panchabhuta, 5 elements in subtle form. We can experience them only when they manifest in physical form. The subtle body and the Sthula Panchabhuta, 5 elements in physical form, are created from the subtle 5 elements. Let us see next how they are formed. Let us first see how the Sukshma subtle body is formed. It is said that the subtle body, which is of 19 aspects, emerges from the subtle 5 elements. We have already seen in the previous chapter that the subtle body has 17 aspects. The Chitta, the inbuilt structure of mind and ego, are the 2 aspects combined with the above 17 aspects and stated as 19 aspects. Let us see that. We have seen the subtle element of Akasha, space, has 4 gunas, and the other subtle elements of Vayu, air, Agni, fire, up, water, and Prithvi, earth have 5, 6, 7, 8 gunas respectively. Now, instead of considering as stated above, let us assume that each subtle element has only the 3 gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Due to the gunas of Sattva and Rajas, the subtle body with 19 aspects emerges from 5 subtle elements. Through Sattva guna, the 5 Jnanendriya energies and Antakarana, the mind, emerge. Through Rajas guna, 5 Karmendriyas and 5 Pranas emerge. Thus, the subtle body with 19 aspects is formed. Let us see further. The Sattva guna in the Akasha, space, creates the Jnanendriya of hearing. The Sattva guna in the Vayu, air, creates the Jnanendriya to touch and feel. The Sattva guna in the Agni, fire, creates the Jnanendriya of seeing. The Sattva guna in the up, water, creates the Jnanendriya of taste. The Sattva guna in the Prithvi, earth, creates the Jnanendriya of smell. Thus, Sattva guna in each of the elements creates the respective Jnanendriyas, sensory energies. The aggregate Sattva guna of all the 5 elements together creates our Antakarana, the mind. This Antakarana is divided into 4 parts. When it is divided so, the first part is also given the name mind. The Antakarana is divided into 4 parts as Manas, mind, Buddhi, intellect, Chitta and Ahankara, ego. Manas, mind, refers to thinking something, getting confused as to this or that, anger and grudges, showing various emotions like happiness, sorrow, etc. Buddhi, intellect, refers to judging and deciding on something. Chitta is the place where the mental impressions, which are the cause of our thoughts and emotions, reside. Chitta is the organ part of mind responsible for memory and character. This is the cause of our thoughts. Ahankara, ego, refers to the aspect of assuming Anatma as I. For these Antakarana aspects too, there are Adi Devatas, presiding deities. Deity for mind is Moon. Deity for Buddhi, Brahma. Deity for Chitta, Vishnu. Deity for ego, Rudra. Thus, the 5 Jnanendriya and Antakarana that reside in the subtle body emerge from the Sattva guna of the Sukshma Panchabhutas, subtle 5 elements. Similarly, through the action quality of Rajas, the Karmendriyas of the subtle body and the 5 Pranas emerge. From the Rajas guna of space, Akasha, the Karmendriya, action energy of the speech through mouth, is created. From the Rajas guna of air, Vayu, the Karmendriya of lifting hands is created. From the Rajas Guna of fire, Agni, the Karmendriya of using the legs is created. From the Rajas Guna of water, up, the Karmendriya of excretion of stools is created. From the Rajas Guna of earth, Prithvi, the Karmendriya of urination is created. Thus, the Jnanendriyas, sensory energies, and the Karmendriyas, action energies are formed. These Jnanendriya energies and Karmendriya energies are invisible subtle energies. Only through these the sense organ systems and the action organs function. Just like the aggregate of Sattva-guna aspects in the 5 elements that created the mind, which is the Antakarana, all the Rajas-guna aspects in the 5 elements aggregate to create the 5 prana energies. Thus, from the subtle 5 elements, due to the Sattva and Rajas gunas, the subtle body with 19 aspects has been created. The formation of Sthula Panchabhuta, physical 5 elements, from the Sukshma Panchabhuta, subtle 5 elements only remain. How is it formed? Of the 3 gunas, Sattva and Rajas have already been used. The 3rd guna, which is the tamas quality alone, has not yet been used. Through this tamas quality, the physical 5 elements, that which can be seen by us, are formed. How they are formed? The system of their forming is named as Panchikarana, the Vedantic theory of how matter came into existence, originating from the primordial 5 subtle elements. What is that Panchikarana? Let us assume that there are 5 students. Everyone has a paint that is of a different color. Green, red, yellow, blue and white are the 5 colors of the paints that they have. Everyone develops interest in the paint kept by the other one. Everyone shares the paint in a ratio. This way, everyone's paint goes to everyone else. What ratio is that? Everyone keeps with himself half of the paint that they have. The balance half portion is divided into 4 parts and shared equally with the other 4. Thus, Akasha, space element, retains with it the half of its tamas quality, divides the balance half to 4 parts and shares with other 4 elements. Like this, the other 4 elements also in turn share their gunas. The tamas quality aspects of other elements also come and reach the Akasha space element. This system is called Panchikarana. With this, the tamas quality aspects of all the elements blend with all other elements. It is in this blended state that the Panchabhuta, 5 elements in their Sthula physical state of space, air, fire, water and earth emerge. This is known as Sthula Prapancha, physical universe. It is from this Sthula Panchabhuta, physical 5 elements, that our Sthula Sharira, physical body, has evolved. Shastras have described the details of the creation of Ishvara and the details of the creation of the universe in this way. How should we use these charts? If these are used for reading and understanding, it is not
Chapter
going
6.
to help.
Sadhana
It
Chatushtaya.
should be used
All
only
of
to
us
keep
that
in memory
exist as
what
Jiva
was read
are,
and
in fact,
understood.
Atma only. We exist as Atma, which is the natural form of Sat Chit Ananda. We are a composition of Atma and Anatma, that is the Jiva. Atma is our natural state. Anatma is the expression of us. We have been acting through the exposure of body and mind. I exist as a son or a daughter to my parents. I exist as a mother or a father to my children. We call this Vyavaharika Satya, practical truth as far as the world is concerned. As per the Vyavaharika Satya, practical truth, we function as a son or a father. Declaring I am Atma is not Vyavaharika Satya. That is Paramarthika Satya, spiritual truth. As far as we are concerned, we exist as Atma. We cannot book tickets in train or airline by saying we are Atma. We can book tickets only with our names that we use in our day-to-day life. We are used to our daily practical life. Hence, we do not confuse ourselves there. We have confusion only in understanding internally who we are. We should understand that Atma is our real form, natural state. We have seen what Shastras say about Jiva and creation of the universe. Hence, we have come to a conclusion that we are Atma. Did we understand clearly that we are not Anatma, non-conscious factor? We call the understanding that we are Atma as Jnana, enlightenment. Our enlightenment blossoms into Mukti, liberation. Have we attained Mukti, liberation? Understanding that we are Atma and attaining Mukti are not two different things. They are the same. We call the understanding through Shastras that we are Atma as Shravana. Redressing all the clarifications that arise from such understanding through a guru or inquiry is called Manana. Understanding this without any doubt and obtaining a confirmation in our clarity within ourselves is called Nididhyasana, right apprehension. To start with Shravana and end with Nididhyasana, many sadhanas, practices have been defined. Shastras have defined 9 types of sadhanas, spiritual disciplines for us. By grouping the 9 sadhanas into 4 sections, we call them by the name Sadhana Chatushtaya. Chatushtaya means 4. I am Atma is a declaration proclaimed by Shastras. We can only exclaim, oh, I see. But the Sadhana Chatushtaya is not the one like that. This is the practical Vedanta. This is directly associated with us. An example. It is an evening when the dusk sets in. We are walking on the road. 2 foreigners point to us and say, snake, snake. We hear that as lake, lake because we could not understand their accent properly. There is a lake by that side. Thinking that they are asking for the direction to the lake, we tell them, go on to the right and you will reach the lake. And we keep walking casually. Again they point to something and shout. Then only we see the dangerous snake that is sleeping on our path. Then only we could understand that what they said was snake and not lake. Then we run helter-skelter towards a direction where there is no snake. Thus, only when we understand rightly that we are the Atma does it switch into action within ourselves. It will not work for us if we consider that as something unrelated to us at all. It will work only if we understand it the way it should be understood. How to understand that rightly? Sadhana Chatushtaya is something that has been defined for that. Only when we understand these sadhanas, blend them into our life and follow, will we understand clearly that we are the Atma. We are going to see what that Sadhana Chatushtaya says. The first thing that comes in Sadhana Chatushtaya is Viveka, wisdom. What is Viveka, wisdom? Understanding by discrimination and intelligence is Viveka. Rational is nothing but understanding by discrimination. How to discriminate? What to discriminate? Which is Atma, which is Anatma? Which is eternal, which is transient? Knowing by discriminating like this is Viveka. 6 pramanas, 6 ways of knowing things, acquiring knowledge are said to be helping in discriminating like this. Only when we see these practices in conjunction with Viveka will we come to know about the approach towards following Viveka. Out of the 6 types of pramanas, first one is Pratyaksha pramana, knowing through direct perception. Aksha means Indriyas, senses. Pratyaksha means knowing through the senses directly. Suppose a person shows a hill to us. We do not have to believe in what he says. We ourselves directly see and know through our eyes. Our senses themselves act as the pramanas. This is Pratyaksha pramana. But there is a limit to our Indriyas, sense organs. There are some restrictions. How to know something that is beyond this boundary? For example, we are in a hill station. There is fire in some distance. But the rocks and trees have hidden the fire in such a way that it is not visible to our eyes. We are able to see only the smoke that comes out of the fire from a distance. Through the smoke that is seen this way, we assume that there is fire. This is called Anumana Pramana, knowing something through inference. This pramana also helps in knowing a few things. Someone asks us, how does a tiger look like? We have seen tigers, but we cannot take him to the tiger's den to show the tiger to him. We show to him a cat which resembles a tiger and say, the tiger looks like this, but it will be much bigger than this. Exemplifying like this is called Upamana Pramana, knowledge through examples. A few things can be understood with the help of this too. Suppose one of our colleagues in our office has a cleanly shaven, shining face without any hair. We have not seen him shaving his face. Even though we have not seen that, we assume that he should have done the shaving before coming to office. The pramana in which we assume like this is called Arthapati Pramana, knowledge through presumption. Is my cell phone available in the table? A friend asks. We look at the table. There is no cell phone seen there. We say, your cell phone is not there in the table. How do we say this? We say this only after seeing with our eyes and confirming that the cell phone is not there. Some invisible things that we see like this is called Anulapti Pramana. We saw that knowing something by using the Indriyas, sense organs, directly is Pratyaksha Pramana. We come to a certain conclusions by somehow using our Indriyas in these Pramanas: Anumana, Upamana, Arthapati and Anulapti. Here we come to a conclusion only after accepting the actions of our sense organs. Can we come to a conclusion what all the sense organs show us are correct? When we walk on the road, we see the mirage through our eyes. It disappears when we go close to it. Sky and sea appear bluish from a distance. The color disappears when we go near them. What we understand from this is that there are some unbelievable aspects in the actions of our sense organs. We confirm the mirage water and the sea water by going close to it. But we cannot know everything by going directly ourselves. It is not possible to know a few things directly. Suppose we have booked flight tickets to go abroad after few days. There is no change in our travel schedule. We have been preparing ourselves towards that. 2 days prior to our travel, our airline services have been cancelled based on the weather forecast issued by the meteorologist. There is no change in the weather that we can perceive in a way, but on that particular day, there is a deluge because of the storm, as the meteorologist said. Had the airline services not been cancelled, we would have been affected too. We come to know about some unknown information through the experts. Knowing like this is called Aptavakya Pramana or Shabda Pramana, knowing through scriptural or verbal testimony. We treat all the preaching of scholars in Upanishads and the great sayings of Vedas as Shabda Pramanas. Understanding which is eternal, which is transient, which is Atma, which is Anatma, with the help of these Pramanas is Viveka, wisdom. Yadha plus Artha is Yadhartha. Yadha means as a matter of fact. Artha means meaning. Yadhartha means seeing an existing object the way it is, or as a matter of fact. Seeing the rope only as rope is Yadhartha knowledge. Seeing the rope as a snake is seeing it wrongly. That is Ayadartha knowledge. A plus Yadhartha is Ayadartha. Knowing ourselves that we are Atma is Yadhartha knowledge. Knowing ourselves as Anatma, non-conscious factor and transient object is Yadhartha knowledge. We have the 3 qualities Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. The quality of Rajas is the cause of all likes and dislikes. The quality of Tamas is the cause of delusion. Sattvic quality alone is the aspect of intelligence. If our sattvic quality predominates in us, that will help in setting the right action for the Viveka. Bringing in discipline in our food and sleep will help in this sattvic quality. Sattvic quality also advances when we do carry out all our actions as Karma Yoga. This helps in the actions of Viveka. The most important sadhana is Viveka, wisdom. Only with the help of Viveka can we step into the second aspect, which is Vairagya. Vairagya is not possible without Viveka. In the event of Viveka happening, Vairagya happens very easily. What we are going to see next is Vairagya. What is Vairagya? Iga amudra bhoge viragaga Vairagya. Iga, this world. Amudra, paraloha, heaven. Bhoge, pleasures. Viragaga, dispassionate towards pleasures. Being dispassionate, detached towards the material worldly pleasures and heavenly pleasures is Vairagya. It is not said that Vairagya is just hating the pleasures. Hating pleasures and ignoring all the pleasures is not Vairagya. Not becoming a slave to the pleasures and not being under their control is Vairagya. It is natural for all to like the pleasures and hate the sufferings. Igaloka is this world. In this world, there are many desires such as desire for land, desire for gold and desire for women. These are the pleasures of this world. Like this, having desire on the heavenly pleasures is also against Vairagya. All those are experienced by our physical and subtle bodies. Hence, the attachment towards our Anatma intensifies. Attachment towards the transient objects only increases. We have come to Vairagya mandatorily through Viveka only. Only if we detach ourselves from the desire on the transient objects can we rely on eternal objects. All the pleasures on the transient objects always have distress in them. We go behind this distress with a delusory thought of pleasure. Our life becomes miserable. This misery is called samsara, bondage of worldly life. Liberating from samsara is liberating from the misery only. This is called mukti, liberation. The cause of all our problems and issues is called shobana adhyasa. Shobana means pleasure. Adhyasa means superimposing a false appearance on reality, loading. What do we load and how? Let us suppose that we see a tasty chocolate. How do we see that? We see that with the thought of a pleasant taste on eating the chocolate. We load the aspect of pleasure on that chocolate. Even loading like that is not a crime. It becomes a crime only when one thinks about the loaded pleasure again and again. A repeated thought about pleasure becomes sankalpa, conception or desire formed in the mind. That desire is fulfilled only when the chocolate is eaten. We get trapped into various desires like this. How to get rid of this? How to ensure that these do not pull us to the extent of controlling us? Just because the chocolate is tasty, what would happen if one eats it heavily? We will have to face the ill effects of that. We should not think about that too. We should think about that too. This is called dosha darshan, fault finding in worldly objects. We should take into account the shortcomings in the object the same way we had imposed and loaded the pleasures on it. Seeing like this enhances the opportunity of vairagya to predominate by withering away the grip on the things. If one is having vairagya, all the pleasures are under control. In the absence of vairagya, we are under the control of all the pleasures. It is said that in the state of vairagya on something, the comfort obtained is 100 times more than the comfort obtained by enjoying the desirable thing. We lose our intelligence when we are under the control of pleasures. Only when we are in a state of vairagya do we have the intelligence. A liberated life is 100 times, maybe 1,000 times better than a life of slavery. It is only the vairagya that gives us freedom. Viveka and vairagya are more essential to attain mukti. When viveka and vairagya are attained rightly, attaining liberation will become very easy. How to establish a few things rightly? Though viveka and vairagya are said to be the prime sadhanas, spiritual disciplines, we can only use them and not practice them. The sadhanas that fall next to these only can be practiced. Practicing those sadhanas help in viveka and vairagya. The third sadhana practice is sama. The third sadhana, sama, to the eighth sadhana, samadhana, are together considered as shat sampat, the six-fold virtue. If we see that way, these six sadhanas together become the third sadhana of sadhana chatushtaya. What is the sadhana called sama? Sama is control of mind. It is said that mind is like a monkey. It is called so because it does not stay in a place. It keeps jumping here and there. It is necessary that mind is brought under control. All the endeavor and practices provided towards this are included in the sadhana called sama. What practices should we adopt towards this? Temple worship, good habits, nurturing good traits, isolating from bad traits, meditating, doing mantra chanting, participating in satsang. Through all these good practices, we should attain the control of mind called sama. The next sadhana is called dhamma. Sama is keeping the mind under control. Dhamma is keeping the senses under control. Keeping the senses under rational control without showing much interest in them is essential. Too much of involvement in sensory pleasures will spoil the physical health. Hence, it is essential that the Jnanendriyas, sensory organs, and the Karmendriyas, organs of action, are kept under control. Our Indriyas, sensory organs, can be kept under control through adoption of good habits, fasting, and mingling with good persons, etc. Control of our mind and our Indriyas help each other mutually. Practicing Dhamma rightly will help us in many ways. This will enhance the mental and physical health. Next to Sama and Dhamma comes the Uparama. Uparama means turning away. From what should one turn away from? From all that which are not in agreement with the sadhanas, Sama and Dhamma. The control of Sama and Dhamma is something that keeps the functioning of our mind and senses under control. Uparama denotes keeping the external environment under control. Keeping away from smoking is the sadhana called Sama. Keeping away from a place where friends get together and smoke is the sadhana called Uparama. Through this, the sadhanas Sama and Dhamma are protected and they become helpful in Viveka and Vairagya. Can we always steer away from the surroundings that are unfavorable for us? One can keep away from the smoking friends. But what to do when the smoker is a part of our family? The sadhana provided for that is what comes next. This sadhana is called Titiksha. Titiksha means endurance. This also can be taken up as a practice and tried. Practice of bearing with the pairs of opposites such as heat and cold, pleasure and pain, honor and shame, praise and insult, etc. is also a sadhana. Through these sadhanas, we can attain mental maturity. It is necessary to practice doing this as a penance after understanding the benefits. Once we have prepared ourselves through these sadhanas, we should step into the next endeavor or sadhana. The seventh sadhana that comes next is Shraddha. Shraddha does not denote concern. Though it is associated with concern, it does not denote concern. It only denotes faith. It denotes the intense faith for the Shastras and the words of the Guru. A devotee had made arrangement for the wedding function for his daughter. He had come with the marriage invitation card to a saint holy man to receive his blessings. He kept the marriage invitation cards in front of the saint and said, "I am in deep financial trouble. I do not know how I will conduct the marriage. Swami, please bless me with good words." He prayed like this. The saint grabbed a handful of holy grains of rice and bestowed on the cards. "Is it enough?" he asked, and grabbed the rice grains again with a smile. "Enough, Swami," the devotee said, and the saint stopped grabbing the grains. The devotee reached home with the plate and the grains. After reaching home, he comes to know that all the rice grains have been turned into gold. The devotee had not expected this. That is why he told the saint that it was enough when the saint started grabbing the grains again. It is very essential to have complete faith in the words of the Guru before attaining enlightenment. Guru's words will not reach the disciple if his faith is not guarded. Only when there is faith will it be possible for involvement in the endeavor. The sadhana that comes next to Shraddha is Samadhana. Samadhana is not about keeping peaceful without fighting. Samadhana is all about a kind of mental integrity called Ekagraha Chitta. fixing the mind without wavering. Mind receives the best energy only when it acts with utmost concentration. Only in that state will the functioning of Viveka be successful. The sadhana called Shraddha will be helpful in this integrity of mind. The sadhana called Samadhana is the eighth one. The sadhana that comes next is Mumukshatva. What is Mumukshatva? This means intense desire for mukti, liberation. We can say that this is the ninth sadhana. We can also say that this is the fourth and last sadhana of sadhana chatushtaya. What does the desire for liberation denote? Suppose we have gone outstation. We are very hungry in the afternoon. What will we do when we are hungry? Can we eat immediately when we become hungry? Only when we know the whereabouts of food can we go there and eat. Mumukshatva is like the hunger we get. Having intense desire or interest in liberation is what Mumukshatva is. A person who is a Mumukshu, seeker, starts gathering its associated knowledge and steps into action towards that. One who uses Mumukshatva is called Jignasu, seeker. In the absence of interest in mukti, liberation, there is no necessity of any action towards that. All the sadhanas are not meant to be practiced one by one. All the 9 types of sadhanas in this sadhana chatushtaya and their qualifications are closely associated with each other. Therefore, through utilization of all of these, we attain the intended state of mukti, liberation. Chapter 7, Mukti. We have seen hypothetically what is meant by mukti, liberation. All the researches and achievements assume significance only for this mukti. Getting freedom from samsara, bondage, is known as mukti. Samsara is a discontentment of the mind. Getting freedom from this discontentment of the mind is called mukti. If we need something, our mind creates a demand and goes into a state of discontentment. We seek that we need happiness. We seek that distress should go away. In those moments, there is something that we need. Our needs are the expression of our discontentment. Getting rid of this discontentment of the mind is called mukti, liberation. This kind of problem comes to us because we consider ourselves as anatma, non-self. We get freedom from the causes of all our problems when we understand ourselves as atma. The 9 types of the spiritual disciplines that are called as sadhana chatushtaya help us to understand correctly. This mukti is divided into 2 types as Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti. Attaining mukti while we are alive with the body is called Jivan Mukti. Videha Mukti denotes the end of our birth cycle by not taking rebirth again after we have left the body. Our life is managed by our karmic actions. All our karmas are divided into 3 types as Sanchita Karma, Prarabdha Karma and Agamiya Karma. The sum total of all our sins and virtuous actions which have been accumulated over many births is called Sanchita Karma. The selected karmas that we have brought from the Sanchita Karma for experiencing in this birth are known as Prarabdha Karma. But all the karmas brought that way act as seeds and become the cause for new karmas in new forms of sins and virtues. The new karma that is created this way is called Agamiya Karma. Our karmas accumulate newly forever. The Mukta who perceives himself as Atman or Brahman, who who has become liberated even while alive gets liberated from the bondages of these karmic actions. Karma exists as long as the jiva exists as a vessel that bears all the karmic actions. When jiva is in the state of an understanding and realization that jiva itself is the Atma, there doesn't exist something called jiva. When the vessel called jiva does not exist, all his karmas disappear in the absence of a place to stay. What is said to be very important in this is that we should see ourselves as Atma. It is wrong to assume that we are Jiva or Chidabhasa. Jiva is also called Chitabhasa. Chitabhasa denotes the false appearance or reflection of Atma, Chit factor. Chidabhasa represents a reflection of something. When Atma reflects in our Sukshma Sharira, subtle body, we call that reflection as Chitabhasa. Reflection of Brahman in Maya is also called Chitabhasa. That is Samashti Chitabhasa. Samashti is totality. We refer Samashti Chitabhasa as Ishvara, the creator of the phenomenal universe, wielder of the force of Maya. The Atma that reflects at the individual Sukshma Sharira functions as Vyashti Chitabhasa is called Jiva, the individual self. Difference exists between Ishvara and Jiva only in the state of reflection. The Atma and Brahman, that is the reason behind the reflection, are basically in the form of Sat plus Chit plus Ananda. In the basic state, the Atma and the Brahman exist as one and the same. Hence, Mahavakya say, Tat Tvam Asi, thou art that, and Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, the universal self. It is said that the knowledge of the absolute reality is nothing but knowing and realizing this Atma, Brahman. This Brahman is described as Nitya Sakshi, the eternal witness. We saw the Avastatraya, the three states of consciousness. The three avasthas are Jagrat, the waking state, Swapna, the dream state, and Sushupti, the deep sleep state. In the state of Jagrat, the waking state of experience, the other two states do not exist. Likewise, when we are in one avastha, the other avasthas do not exist. All these three stages are just experiences that come and go. There is something that exists in these three avasthas which is the source of all the three avasthas. Only that something has the knowledge of all the three avasthas as a witness. That Nitya Sakshi exists as the absolute reality, which is the Atma, Brahman. Perceiving ourselves as this absolute reality is the state of Mukti, liberation. Attaining this liberation even while we are alive in the body is the state of Jivan Mukti. Shastras describe about the quality of reflection in a different manner also. Shastras explain the reflection of Atma, Brahman in Maya and Sukshma Sharira as Chidabhasa. Shastras explain in another way too. A crystal stone does not bear any color. But if we keep red flowers by the side of the crystal stone, the colorless crystal stone becomes red. In reality, it does not acquire the red color. If we apply red color paint on the crystal stone, the paint sticks to the stone. But the reflection of flower in the stone is not a change. It is just a reflected image. We said that the reflection of Atma in the Sukshma Sharira is Chitabhasa. Shastras say that the reflection of Anatma in Atma is Upadhi. In Vedanta, the word Upadhi is used for conditioning, that which limits. We say that the Atma that has the Upadhi called Avidya is known as Jiva. Avidya is ignorance, that which prevents us from realizing the self. The Brahman that has the Upadhi called Maya is Ishvara. Shastras teach us to inquire about the Mahavakya, great saying, Tat Tvam Asi. Tat is that. That is Atma or Brahman. Inquiring into that is called Tatpada Vichara. Tvam is you. You denotes Jiva. Inquiring into Tvam or you is called Tvampada Vichara. Shastras use two more terms about this. One is Vachyartha, directly expressed meaning. The other one is Lakshyartha, indirectly expressed meaning. What do these two mean? India won Sri Lanka by 20 runs. India and Sri Lanka are two different countries. Do they run? Do they get runs? They are stationary at one place. They neither run nor do get runs. This is the superficial meaning, but the meaning hidden there is different. It had been explained that way to notify that Indian players won the game played between Indian and Sri Lankan players. The superficial meaning is denoted as Vachyartha. The hidden meaning is called as the Lakshyartha. Indeed, Jiva and Ishvara all indicate only Vachyartha. What we notify in reality through these names is only the Atma or Brahman. That is Lakshyartha. If we see Jiva as Jiva, individual personality, then it means that we see as Vachyartha. It is only when we see the Jiva as Atma, we see the Jiva as Lakshyartha. All these attempts and sadhanas exist only to regulate and streamline our view. This Jiva is not somebody. That is only me. My natural state is nothing but the Brahman. Having understood my natural state, I should recognize myself as the Brahman, which is the Lakshyartha. I should say that I am the Brahman. I should say Aham Brahmasmi. Mahavakya, great sayings, teach us like this only. Let us conclude this first part by worshipping all those Shastras and enlightened masters who try to make us liberated souls.